The power goes out. The hum of the fridge stops. The TV screen goes black. The world falls silent. For most of us, it's just an inconvenience. Light some candles, maybe tell a few ghost stories. But for some, the darkness isn't empty. It's filled with something else. Tonight, we're diving into some true horror stories that all started with a simple power outage. These aren't tales of monsters under the bed. They're real experiences from people who found themselves plunged into a nightmare when the lights went out. So, turn down your lights, if you dare, and listen closely. Our first story comes from a woman named Clara, who was living alone in an old farmhouse, miles from the nearest town. One stormy winter night, the power suddenly cut out. It wasn't unusual, given the weather. Clara lit some candles and settled in with a book. That's when she heard it, a faint scratching sound coming from the front porch. She dismissed it as a tree branch scraping against the house in the wind, but the scratching became more rhythmic, more deliberate. Scratch, pause. Scratch, pause. Her heart started to pound. Gathering her courage, she crept to the window and peeked through the blinds. In the flashes of lightning, she saw a figure, a tall, thin man, just standing there on her porch, staring at the door. He wasn't moving, just standing. Then, the scratching started again, but this time, it was on the window pane right in front of her face. She screamed and stumbled backward, knocking over a table. The noise seemed to startle him, and in the next lightning flash, he was gone. The power didn't come back on until morning. She never saw the man again. But for the rest of the time she lived there, she could never shake the feeling that she was being watched from the darkness. Next, we have an account from a group of college students. Mark, Sarah, and Ben, who were staying in a remote cabin for a weekend getaway. The first night, a powerful storm rolled in and knocked out the electricity. They thought it was a great excuse to start a fire and break out the board games. As they were playing, they heard a soft knock at the door. They looked at each other, confused. Who could possibly be out here in this storm? Mark cautiously opened the door to find a little girl, no older than 8, soaked from the rain. She said she was lost and separated from her parents who were camping nearby. Feeling sorry for her, they let her in to dry off by the fire. She was quiet, only giving one-word answers to their questions. A strange feeling of unease began to settle over the group. Ben noticed her eyes. They seemed dark, almost completely black. He tried to ignore it, blaming the dim, flickering firelight. Sarah offered the girl some hot chocolate, but when she handed it to her, their fingers brushed. The girl's skin was ice cold, unnaturally so. Suddenly, the girl looked up at all of them, her dark eyes wide, and whispered, "He's coming for me." Just then, there was a loud, violent bang on the door, like someone was trying to break it down. They all jumped, terrified. The banging continued, getting louder and more frantic. The little girl started to cry, a sound that was somehow wrong. It was too high-pitched, almost inhuman. Mark, terrified, yelled, "Who's there?" A deep, guttural voice from outside roared, "Give me back what is mine." As another thunderous crash hit the door, the cabin's lights flickered back on, and in that instant, the little girl was gone. Vanished. The banging stopped. They looked around the room, but there was no sign of her. The door was still locked from the inside. They spent the rest of the night huddled together, waiting for the sun to rise. They packed up and left the moment it was light, and never went back. Our final story tonight comes from a security guard named David, who worked the night shift at an old, abandoned hospital that was scheduled for demolition. It was a creepy place, even with the lights on. One night, the backup generator failed, plunging the entire building into absolute blackness. David was doing his rounds on the 3rd floor, the old pediatric ward. Armed with only a flashlight, he navigated the decaying hallways. The beam of light, cutting through the oppressive dark, he heard a noise from one of the patient rooms. It sounded like a child's laughter. He froze. The building was supposed to be empty. He slowly approached the room and pushed the door open. His flashlight beam landed on an old, rusty wheelchair in the corner of the room. It was empty. As he was about to leave, the laughter echoed again, this time seeming to come from right behind him. Espen heard how, but there was nothing there, just an empty hallway. His heart was hammering against his ribs. He started walking faster, wanting to get out of that ward. Then, he heard the distinct sound of wheels rolling on the linoleum floor behind him. He didn't dare look back. He just ran. The sound of the rolling wheelchair followed him, keeping pace all the way to the stairwell. He slammed the heavy fire door shut behind him and didn't stop running until he was outside in the parking lot. He quit his job the next day. The dark has a way of playing tricks on our minds, but sometimes what lurks in the shadows is all too real. Thanks for listening to these chilling stories. If you have a true power outage story of your own, share it in the comments below. We'd love to read them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Stay safe, and whatever you do, keep the lights on.